South needs to be done to keep all Americans safe. We've reached out to local Charlotte leaders asking them for a statement, including we've reached out to CATS. We're still waiting to hear back from them, but when we hear from them, we'll let you know what they say. We're right here in the South End. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
9 o'clock here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal. We thank you for joining us here for the next couple of hours as we bring you the top live, local, national, international news. Want to start you out, though, on the national level because, of course, yesterday was the President's State of the Union address as we look this morning at a live picture at the Capitol and a busy night last night as he delivered his first State of the Union address in his second term. Highlighting among some of his immigration policy, the economy, as well as strengthening the southern border. NBC's Tracy Wilkins has the latest for us on NBC News here on WCNC Plus.
As President Trump addressed members of Congress for the second year of his second term.
Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before.
Divisions between the two parties were evident, especially on issues like the state of the economy.
They caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem.
The president boasted a stronger economy, one of the many issues more than half of Americans believe he's failing on, according to recent polling. Trump also made his case on his tariffs in front of the Supreme Court justices who recently ruled limiting his ability to levy them.
But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made.
The president touted ending wars while promising he will not allow Iran to pursue a nuclear weapon.
I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon.
Several Democrats boycotted the speech, while some who were there at times shouted in protest, especially apparent when the president accused Democrats of supporting sanctuary cities and not his immigration policies.
They're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
It was a point Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger addressed in the Democratic response.
Our president has sent poorly trained federal agents into our cities, where they have arrested and detained American citizens and people who aspire to be Americans, and they have done it without a warrant.
Spanberger also countered questioning if Americans are the ones who are benefiting most from the president's policies.
The scale of the corruption is unprecedented. There's the cover-up of the Epstein.
In Washington, Tracy Wilkins, NBC News.
To foreign princes for airplanes and
There was a moment when both parties agreed and Democrats who were in the chamber applauded, and that was when the president called for the passage of a bill to end insider stock trading by members of Congress. In Washington, I'm Tracy Wilkins, NBC News.
And Charlotte also highlighted with the president mentioning Irina Zarutska's death and bringing to light public safety as well. Our Richard Devane has that angle for us. This from an earlier clip on WCNC Plus.
Yeah, good morning to you, Lisa. Good morning, Ben. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Yeah, and that long speech by the president at the State of the Union last night, he talked on a number of topics, including here at the light rail. He also addressed the killing of Irina Zarutska, demanding that Charlotte leaders and lawmakers do more to protect the public. Take a listen.
She had escaped a brutal war only to be slain by a hardened criminal, set free to kill in America, came in through open borders. Mrs. Zarutska, tonight I promise you we will ensure justice for your magnificent daughter, Irina.
Yeah, the president recognizing Irina's mother, Anya Zarutska, in the gallery and said her daughter fled war in Ukraine, seeking safety in North Carolina. He went on to criticize no cash bail policies. He said allowed the suspect, the Carlos Brown, to be released before that attack. He also urged Congress to pass tougher laws to keep repeat offenders in prison. Republicans applauded the remarks while most Democrats remained seated. After the killing, North Carolina lawmakers approved Irina's law, tightening bail restrictions and expediting death penalty appeals. The president went on to say that something needs to be done to keep all Americans safe. We've reached out to local Charlotte leaders, asking them for a statement, including we've reached out to CATS. We're still waiting to hear back from them, but when we hear from them, we'll let you know what they say. We're right here in the South End. This is Richard Devane. We'll send it back to you.
Also invited to the State of the Union address, both the men's and women's hockey teams, gold-winning Olympians, to the State of the Union address. The women's team declined the invitation. The men's hockey team did go and attend. We're going to bring you the sights and sounds of that from last night here now on WCNC Plus.
The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team, come on in. Go ahead. That's the first time I've ever seen them get up. And actually, not all of them did get up. But they beat a fantastic Canadian team in overtime, as everybody saw, as did the American women who will soon be coming to the White House. They were in the Oval Office before, and I just want to say a second very big congratulations to Team USA. But I have to say that, and I told them this, and we took a vote of the team. I said, anybody votes no, I'm not doing it. So they stood there, and they weren't about to say no, because I've never seen a goaltender play as well as goalie Connor Hellebuck. Think of it, 46 shots on goal, and I asked him, the one shot, the one where you put your stick in the back and it hit the neck of your stick and bounced off, do you practice that, or was that a little lucky? He refused to answer that question. But I just want to tell you that the members of this great hockey squad will be very happy to hear, based on their vote and my vote, and in this case my vote was more important, that I will soon be presenting Connor with our highest civilian honor, which we will be given and which has been given to many athletes over the years. But when I say many, not too many, like 12, it's called the highest civilian honor in our country, the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
All right, back here now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time right now is 9:10, and that was just a little taste of the hockey team attending the State of the Union address yesterday. Saw a quick peek there at Chris and Ben. Chris doing this morning's weather report earlier on WCNC Plus. We got to check our weather. It looks sunny and hopefully getting warmer. Let's check in with them now on WCNC Plus.
Yesterday, we were at 44, day before 43. Well, we're starting off the day in the mid-40s. That means it's inevitable they're going to warm up. We're just waiting on the sunshine. A little bit of rain here. Now, a lot of this is struggle busting to hit the surface. So raising your weather IQ real quick. Whenever you have a relative humidity at the surface that is below 60%, a lot of that is not reaching the surface, especially when it's in the 30s and the 40s. So we're still calling that you might have a few sprinkles, but no real measurable rain for this morning. That's going to skedaddle off towards the east. We have some cloud cover, but the clouds are already starting to break. So before you know it, by the end of the morning, we're going to see a little bit more sunshine when we clear out of the way. But it's going to be a windy day. We're really going to have those winds that are rocking out of the west and the southwest today, which is going to warm us up. That's going to get us into the lower 60s. I think that we have a little bit of a window of sunshine before the clouds start to roll back in, and then that's going to be our next wet weather system. So our wind forecast straight up 25 to 35 miles per hour throughout the day. So winds are really going to be a big factor for today. And then by tomorrow, it's definitely going to be an umbrella-worthy day because we have widespread rain through your Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon, and then it starts to wind down during your Thursday evening with a few isolated showers heading into your Friday. Here's the setup. We got this front to the northwest. That moves in. Rain dives to the south, and then eventually gets out of here. Let's slow it down. Here's the little window of sunshine I'm talking about. We clear by the late morning into the afternoon. By the late afternoon and evening, clouds roll back in. That's going to keep our lows in the 50s, so that's the good news, the silver lining. This is all rain, but that rain arrives as early as midnight, seeing a wet morning commute, so wet roads to begin your day tomorrow. So we'll see how that's going to pan out. Rain could be heavy at times, and I think the heaviest showers are going to be into the afternoon. There are some signs that this is going to be fully clear, besides some leftover real light rain showers, some sprinkles, and some drizzle by about 3 o'clock, mainly down towards the south with a lingering on and off shower chance. We desperately need the rain. A new drought monitor update comes out tomorrow, but there are some signs that we could have up to an inch of accumulation, but most areas looking like less than an inch when all is said and done. Our Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast, we're right around 60 degrees over the next few days. Today is the better chance for sunshine, but it's a nice payoff because look at this. I actually bumped our Saturday temperature upper.
All right, the thing to know there is that we're going to look good for the weekend. So just need to get through a couple of days where we need that much needed rain from Mother Nature. And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 9:15 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, NASA having to make a significant decision, rolling its massive space launch system rocket and Orion spacecraft back from the launch pad at Kennedy Space Center in Florida. A setback certainly for Artemis 2 and that mission, as we're taking a live look right now. It was slated to carry astronauts around the moon for the first time in more than 50 years. So here to help us break this down, what this means for the future of this endeavor and this mission is Candace Jordan, joining us from Gastonia. Hi, Candace, from the Shield Museum of Natural History. Thanks for joining us here on Live Impact News.
Yeah, thanks for having me. We are really excited for Artemis. And of course, we're seeing some of these delays, which isn't totally uncommon when we look at a spacecraft mission. A lot of times, I don't think I've ever known a mission to go off on the first launch date. So of course, we have another delay that just happened with our Artemis 2 mission. So they found an interrupted flow of helium in the rocket's upper stage. They did this while they were doing what they call the wet dress rehearsal. So basically they're testing all the systems to see if it's basically working. They think the cause of this issue might be some interference between the ground and the rocket lines that's used to basically route this helium to the right places. Maybe it's a valve in the upper stage. Maybe it's a filter between the ground and rocket. Think about like you and your car at home, your check engine light comes on. It could be a multitude of things that might be causing that. So what they're going to do is they're going to take that rocket back to the Vehicle Assembly Building, the VAB, and that is a really slow trek. It's about takes about 12 hours to go the 4 miles. So that's about a third of a mile per hour, or a little faster than a land tortoise. So a very slow crawl.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and because it's so massive, I understand why they need to take their time piece by piece. It looks so overwhelming on screen. Tell us help us explain at home how massive this operation is.
Yeah, so this is a big deal. So, when Artemis 1 happened, we had our SLS rocket, space launch system. So we're using that again. And this thing, to give some rough numbers, about 6.5 million pounds, and about 5.5 million of those pounds are fuel just to get off Earth. So that tells you just how hard it is to overcome our gravity and leave Earth's atmosphere. So, most of that is either some solid fuels, liquid fuels, or you have some gaseous ones as well. This helium leak that we found, helium's really, really light. If you think about it, you go for a birthday party and you put helium in the balloons and they stay nice and upright during the entire party. A child accidentally lets go of it, and it's going way off into the sky. So this wants to lift really easily. So that helium likes to find any nook and cranny that it can to get out of. And so it did find that little nook and cranny to get out of, and that's what caused this issue, necessitating them basically taking it back to the Vehicle Assembly Building.
If, Candace, for people who are not following Artemis, the first mission, what is the importance of these Artemis moon missions?
Yeah, so kind of think of it as our next generation. So we had the Apollo missions back in the 60s and 70s. This here is our new generation. So it's the Artemis missions. So with Artemis 1, they did an uncrewed flight. So basically no humans were on board. It successfully went around the moon. Artemis 2 is taking humans on board. So we're going to have 4 astronauts that'll be going on this flight. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, and Jeremy Hansen. And they will be going around the moon. They're actually going to go further than anyone has ever been away from Earth. And then what Artemis 2 is going to lead to is Artemis 3, which will kind of be like the Apollo 11 of our time. It'll be when we can first put boots back on the moon's surface. All of this is leading to us, hopefully setting up a lunar base on the moon, kind of establishing some of that presence there, and then looking into the 2030s, 2040s, maybe we can get to Mars. So it's kind of like our first stepping stone towards bigger travel away from Earth.
It's hard to imagine how a delay like this would affect the crew, right? The physical, mental training. Now they got to stand by again for a month plus. How does this delay affect their mentality?
I think it's a positive and a negative, so the negative thing, they're so excited to do this job that they've been training to do. So, with each delay, it's delaying them doing that job. They do have to go into quarantine about 2 weeks prior to the launch date. So, they're going into quarantine. They're not physically with their family members. Luckily, with our digital age, you can talk, in digital ways. But they're in quarantine. But I also see it as a positive too, because one thing that we're noticing is NASA is making sure that the crew is going to be safe. They're taking any of these little things that they're noticing with the rocket very, very seriously. And I think that's really great, because we haven't always done that. When we were in the first space race back in the 1960s, Apollo 1 was going to be our first crewed mission, but it actually had a cabin fire, and we lost those first 3 astronauts. And there were signs that there was something wrong, and not that it was completely ignored, but it just wasn't taken as seriously as possible. So I am pleased to see that NASA is really taking it seriously. I'm sure that the crew is as well. And, they're wanting to make sure that everything is right before they get on this huge rocket that is basically going to start, taking them up into space with lots and lots of power. So we want to make sure that they are as safe as possible.
And Candace, speak to the work you guys do there at Scheele Museum, because something like this event where all eyes are on that, especially to get local kids excited, families excited about science and space, how does that apply to your teaching that you do over there?
Yeah, so we have a planetarium over here at the Scheele Museum. We're in Gastonia, so we're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the Queen City. And we have shows that run every day, but there's one called The Sky Tonight. That one runs at 1:30 every single day of the week. And we do talk about Artemis in there. Right now, we're actually focusing on the food of Artemis. So just kind of talking about what it's like to eat in space, because you don't have a microwave, you don't have a kitchen, you can't just go to the grocery store when you're in space. So we talk about all kind of fun stuff there. But we're also kind of keeping track of the Artemis mission and when those launch dates are going to happen, So hopefully we're looking now at an April launch date. So hopefully we can help to do some stuff there. So if we get that April 1st launch date, hopefully no April Fool's joke, right. We will have some programming here where we can allow people just to come and see what's happening with Artemis, and allowing them to kind of ask questions and what you're doing. We can ask questions and we can learn together. Kids, we get so many field trip kids here, and they get to learn about this program. There's so much happening with the space community, and they get to learn about that while they're here, just for this short little bit of time. So those planetarium shows, you can go at ScheeleMuseum.org and get your tickets and come see us.
Perfect. ScheeleMuseum.org. And it sounds like this is not discouraging news. It's just sort of part of the procedure and making progress.
It is. It's just part of the process. This is just a small pit stop in our journey. Kind of think of it like, you have to go and get gas. You can't do a 12-hour drive in your car. So we're making sure that the tires are good and all your stuff that you would do with your car on a road trip. We're just making sure that this road trip is going to be good, because there is no roadside safety if something goes wrong once it's already lifted off the ground.
It really is so impressive. And if you ever went to the interactive Belk exhibit, did you see that one here in Charlotte? It was amazing.
Amazing.
Just to get a sense of what it might be like in space. And looking at these pictures and images, wow, the work they do there is really cool.
Very cool. I would love to be in their shoes, but I would also be kind of nervous to be in their shoes at times too.
No kidding. And that's why they trained for years. Candace Jordan from the Scheele Museum of Natural History in Gastonia. Appreciate your time, information, a little bit of education here for Live Impact News. Thank you for letting us in on what's happening with Artemis 2 mission. All right,
Thanks,
see you
guys.
soon. And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 9:28 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Can you believe it? Spring break is right around the corner, and for families here in the Charlotte area, a beach getaway just a few hours down the road. This morning, we are going to look ahead to spring travel 2026 with a trip to Myrtle Beach. Easy drive from the Queen City. Joining us right now is Emmy Award-winning PBS travel host Darlene Newman, joining us there from Myrtle Beach. Hi, Darlene. How are you?
Hi, great to see you.
Nice to see you. For families watching here in the Carolinas, just a couple hours away, which makes it so appealing. Why is it appealing to you for Myrtle Beach?
Well, a great vacation should be fun and memorable, but also easy to get to, budget-friendly, and packed with options. Whether you want great food or adventure, or you just want to relax by the ocean, Myrtle Beach is a destination that delivers. There are more than 60 miles of coastline. There's new entertainment, fresh dining options for all budget levels. Right now, they have a promotion called Make More Myrtle Moments. You can book 3 nights and get 1 free, or book 5 nights and get 2 free.
Okay, and is that for the whole spring break, February, March?
Yeah, it's running now, so check it out on visitmyrtlebeach.com.
All right. Easy travel is kind of the way, it seems to be the theme for spring break, especially for families on a budget. And so what do you tell families trying to load up and make it really easy to head down there?
Yeah, when you think about family vacations, you want to think about that access, affordability, and flexibility. That's why Myrtle Beach and destinations like it are so popular. There's value, there's variety, there's convenience. Myrtle Beach is located within a day's drive for nearly half of the U.S. population. The airport here has been newly renovated, which is great. There's new upgrades to places like Brooklyn Gardens and the Myrtle Beach Pelican Stadium. There's also a ton of great lodging options for families and for affordability. I'm right here on the beach today at the Ocean Escape Boardwalk, just one of the many picks.
It looks very peaceful and lovely behind you. So probably the calm before the spring break storm. For people who haven't been in years, right? You are saying there are some changes and surprises this time?
Well, so there are a lot of new attractions. When you're thinking about a vacation, you want to pick something that has a lot of options and then, of course, pair it with a stunning beach. Myrtle Beach has a lot of new attractions right now. There's the Family Kingdom amusement park. We've got tried and true Broadway at the beach. There's entertainment like the Pirates Voyage dinner show. And you've got to have that delicious dining, some outdoor adventure like kayaking. It's that mix of relaxation and fun adventure that's great for multi-generational travelers and families.
All right, so without breaking the bank, what tips are for those who are looking for a budget-friendly spring break for their family?
So I grew up here. I kind of come back every chance I can get. So I can tell you, look at options like the Carolina Opry. They're celebrating 40 years. They have a great concert lineup. If you want to get up early, something that's really fun and won't break the bank, Sunrise at Surfside Pier. The Marsh Walk has live music. And you've got to look at that downtown new food scene. There's places like Winna's Kitchen and the Tasting Room on 9th. Those are local gems.
All right. And then, I mean, we got to say, too, it's not just for families, although all of those attractions look fabulous.
This is a great beach destination for groups. If you're coming here for a romantic weekend, you've got spring break, you've got family vacations. And you know what? Myrtle Beach is the golf capital and the mini golf capital of the world. There are more than 80 golf courses and dozens of mini golf courses. So lots of ways to get active, too.
Fantastic. Darlie, anything else we need to know if we are thinking about going to the beach this spring or anytime soon this year?
Yeah, if you're thinking about coming down to the beach, check out visitmyrtlebeach.com. There you're going to find your lodging options, lots of places to dine, but also travel discounts. So if you're looking for that affordability, it's a great place to check out.
Sounds good. Darlie Newman from Myrtle Beach. I do enjoy a good sunrise there, watching it perfectly over the water. All right. Enjoy your time. Thanks.
Thanks.
And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 9:35 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, we are following a bit of breaking news out of Miami. Just want to show you a live picture real quick where there are some schools in southwest Miami and Dade County on lockdown. We're looking at a live picture there so you can see the camera just kind of do a 360. But learning that preliminary right now, we're hearing that there is some ICE activity. So we're going to try to get more specifics on which schools schools are affected, but a little bit of activity out of Dade County, Miami, Florida.
Jane, if I can add,
please.
I know we're looking at the bottom of a helicopter, but
Yeah.
from the producer chair, the other thing that's catching my eye is the amount of smoke on the horizon because of all of the wildfires that have been burning in South Florida. You can kind of see it off there in the distance,
Yep.
the haziness.
Interesting.
That wasn't the story that the helicopter was
Sure.
out reporting on, but just as the
Keen
camera
eye.
kind of repositioned, I was like, oh, there it is.
And you know, having covered Florida and Southwest Florida fires and being from South Florida, yes, it seemed a little early for wildfire season, but I don't know if they've been dealing with any droughts this previous
They have
season.
just like we have.
Yeah, so we're dealing
so
with
much
it
of
all.
the Southeast is so dry.
Okay, so interesting there, and again, more information up on its way. Hopefully, we'll get that to you when we find out. All right, here in the Queen City at 9:36, we are following a local story when it comes to firefighting. Speaking of which, Charlotte firefighters are fighting for better pay, and this is the story for our Destiny Richards, who had this filed earlier with Ben and Lisa on WCNC Plus.
Charlotte City Council working on its next budget, and the Charlotte Firefighters Association wants to make sure that they're included. WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us live this morning. She's outside the fire station in South End sharing the firefighters' demands. Destiny.
Yeah, public safety is expected to be a major part of Charlotte's next budget, and firefighters want to make sure they are a part of those funding priorities. Right now, they're asking for a boost in pay and better benefits, saying that compensation as it is right now does not keep up with the risks of the job, nor does it keep up with the rapid growth of the city. Now, the Charlotte Firefighters Association's top request is for equal pay with CMPD officers through the city's public safety pay plan, plus a cost of living adjustment. Starting pay for firefighters is currently about $3 less than CMPD, and union leaders say that pay gap is making it harder to recruit and retain staff. They're also pushing for lower health insurance premiums and funding for 5 permanent modified duty positions, so firefighters with serious job-related medical conditions can continue serving beyond the current 5-year limit.
Our members experience line-of-duty injuries, cardiac conditions, and occupational illnesses after years of exposure. Some are medically removed from riding the apparatus.
Firefighters from all experience groups, those with a couple years of experience and those with 20 years of experience, they are leaving to go to other departments and other fields of work that offer better pay and benefits.
Now, council members say they're meeting with firefighters one-on-one as budget talks continue, but they're also weighing this with broader considerations for the budget, like whether to increase taxes in Charlotte. We know that the city is expected to finalize its budget by the end of June. Live this morning in South End, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, back here now. I want to bring you an update on a story that our Julie Kay covered yesterday about Waymo, the auto driving vehicles that did a trial here in the Charlotte area, then they left, and then we heard there were some rumors that it was coming back. But now we know Waymo has confirmed that they have plans to come back soon, back to the Charlotte area. So this is from a representative, part of their statement saying, I'm just going to read this verbatim while James pulls up some video here. But Charlotte blends its historic charm with North Carolina's economic dynamism, uptown surrounded by vibrant neighborhoods, and we are thrilled to announce Waymo's intention to bring our safe, magic, fully autonomous ride-hailing to Charlotte, North Carolina. The governor is saying, quote, wherever North Carolinians are traveling, safe and reliable transportation is essential. We are eager to see how Waymo's expansion into Charlotte can increase accessibility, modernize transportation, and create safer roads. So they tested once. They're coming back here to Charlotte. We're going to try to get down an estimated time on when, but they say soon. And you'll see those autonomous cars before you know it. And then we are also updating our article on WCNC.com, so you could always go there for your latest updates. Let's take a quick break here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. At 9:42 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Feeling a little achy these days? Weather's changing, body's changing, aches are happening. Well, our Becca Birdsall in this week's Weather IQ looking at the change of pressure attributing to the extra aches and pains.
As we head into Thursday and Friday's wet weather, you may notice more than just clouds and rain. You might actually feel it. When air pressure drops, it usually signals worsening weather. In this case, that falling pressure means a rain system is moving in. Air pressure is the weight of the atmosphere pushing down on us. Most days, our bodies don't notice it because pressure changes happen slowly. But when a strong weather system moves in, like a cold front, powerful low pressure system, or rapidly intensifying storm, pressure can drop quickly, and research argues for some people that drop can trigger aches and pains. New research says about 75% of arthritis sufferers say weather impacts their symptoms. It also suggests pain levels can increase with every 10-degree drop in temperature. Colder air may cause joint fluid to thicken, leading to more stiffness and inflammation. But falling air pressure may have an even greater effect. As pressure falls, the air expands slightly, including the air inside your body. This can affect sinuses, joints, and even inner ears, especially if they're already sensitive or inflamed. When pressure rises quickly behind a cold front, the opposite can happen. Higher pressure compresses air, which can make sinuses feel blocked and joints feel tight, especially in colder, drier air. If you suffer from migraines, arthritis, sinus issues, or past injuries, your body is more sensitive to subtle changes. With the Weather Impact Team, I'm meteorologist Becca Birdsall.
And at 9:44, tax season is here, right? And for many adults, filing can be confusing, stressful, and expensive. AARP Foundation's Tax Aid Program is stepping in with free IRS certified tax preparation help, and no membership to AARP is required. Joining us right now is Mayushi Moses, Vice President of Volunteer Programs at AARP Foundation. Mayushi, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Jane.
Well, for viewers who are hearing about this for the first time, talk to us about what the AARP Foundation Tax Aid does. How does this helping people?
Oh, it's a wonderful program. It is the largest free volunteer-powered tax prep program in the country. We have more than 3,600 sites with thousands of IRS-certified volunteers ready to serve. In fact, this program is so impactful. Last year in North Carolina alone, volunteers served more than 60,000 taxpayers with refunds totaling more than $40 million.
Oh,
It's
wow,
real.
that's really great news. Very encouraging for people who could use the service. Who qualifies to receive this aid?
While we focus on serving older adults living with low to moderate income, tax aid is available to anyone. As long as your return falls within the IRS guidelines, our volunteers are certified to handle.
All right, any situations then that fall outside the program's scope?
We have all of that information on our website, aarpfoundation.org/tax-help. We list the types of returns that our volunteers are trained to handle.
Okay, so you did say that this does impact or focus on older adults and low-income families, but anyone can come in. How can you make that possible?
It's possible because we are located in all 50 states and the District of Columbia. We are probably in your community. We are in libraries, we are in senior centers, community centers in all communities. And we make it accessible also in that we want to meet you where you are. So if you're interested in having a volunteer complete the return for you, we can do that. If you want to take a stab at it and do your return but have a certified volunteer help you, we can make that happen. And in some locations, we can offer virtual services. So if you go to our website at aarpfoundation.org/tax-help, you can sign up, use our site locator, find a location near you, and sign up and make an appointment.
Are some changes that older adults really should be aware of? What are the biggest changes?
The biggest changes have come from the new federal tax law updates that have real impact on older adults. In fact, there's a new senior bonus deduction for individuals 65 years of age and older who meet certain income requirements. This year, that amount can be up to $6,000 for individuals. That's real money that our volunteers are trained to help put that money back in the pockets of our older adults.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it can be such a challenging task even for younger adults, right? What issues do you see more often, or what are volunteers seeing most often when it comes to filing taxes for older adults?
You're right. With older adults, taxes can become more challenging, especially as you age. And so what we see with older adults is that they may have multiple sources of income, like a job, funds from a job, but also maybe from Social Security or from a pension that they're receiving. So that can impact taxes. And also older adults often have changing life circumstances. There may be a loss of a spouse or high medical expenses that can really complicate taxes. And that's why our tax aid volunteers are certified and trained to handle those situations.
All right, very good. So if someone wants to sign up for tax aid, number one, do they need to make an appointment, or can they just walk in? And then once they do start the process, what does that process actually look like that day?
Sure. So you can go to our website to sign up for an appointment. It's always good to have an appointment, but we do take walk-ins. And in that website, we can also give you information on what documents to bring to make sure that our volunteers have all the information they need to ensure that they are completing a very comprehensive return. Some of the things that are needed are government-issued ID, a Social Security card, making sure that you bring any communications with the IRS, and also any financial documents like a W-2 or a 1099. We have a comprehensive list of those documents on their website, aarpfoundation.org/tax help.
All right, Myosha. And then for people who might say that they're embarrassed or nervous about asking for help, what do you tell them?
Oh, don't be embarrassed. Our thousands of volunteers, many of whom have been doing this for years, are committed to serving those in their community. It's important to them, and they have all the information to provide every taxpayer with the comfort level that's needed for them to know that their tax returns are being filed correctly and comprehensively.
Sounds good. Hopefully that gives people reassurance and some real money out there for North Carolinians. So go to AARP Foundation if you need it. Mayoshi Moses, thank you for joining us this morning. Appreciate the help.
Thank you, Jane.
And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC+.
Thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest.
At 9:53 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, just wanted to quickly update you because I got more information now on the aerial pictures that we were showing you out of Miami moments ago. We're learning that authorities stopped a landscaping truck and someone took off on foot. So they're searching the area on lockdown. Familiar with the South Florida area, St. Mark's Catholic School, in addition to Archbishop McCarthy High School, due to police activity. If we see our live helicopter up and about gathering video again, we will bring that to you live. In the meantime, we have a live house session right now on the floor. This is happening at Washington, D.C. Let's listen in on Live Impact News.
This legislation is about reversing the damage caused by President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act's aggressive regulatory agenda and taxpayer funding spending spree. Whatever happened to the free market? What's happened to consumer choice? Housing affordability is a critical issue facing the American people. You look at the numbers. The costs associated with the IRA programs this bill seeks to repeal significantly add to the price of the new homes and lead to higher energy bills for the American people. According to the Federal Reserve, median home prices have skyrocketed over the past decade, with the largest increase from 2020 to 2022, which saw a 40% increase in medium homes. When you talk about the home rebates that we're talking about here today and who's getting them, according right here, if you're provides taxpayer subsidies for households earning over 150% of the median household income for the area. So the data from 2024 shows that the median income in the District of Columbia was $104,800, meaning that households in Washington making up to $156,000 can receive taxpayer subsidies and to upgrade their appliances. And the same numbers in 2024, median income for Massachusetts was $113,900, meaning that households making up to $170,850, which is nearly double the nationwide median household income, or can qualify. H.R. 4758 brings back the dream of home ownership back to millions of Americans. And oh, by the way, let's talk about electricity costs again. We talk about this a lot. Reliable power, affordable power. When you look at the increases, where's it at? It starts in Maryland and goes to Maine. It's California. If I lived in those states, as I've said before, I'd call my legislators in those states and say, what are you doing out there? What's the governor doing? So look where those states are and look where the affordability crisis is in this country. I urge my colleagues to support this legislation. Mr. Speaker, I yield back the balance of my time.
All time for debate has expired. Pursuant to House Resolution 1075, the previous question is ordered on the bill. The question is on the engrossment and third reading of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Third reading.
A bill to repeal provisions of Public Law 117-169 relating to taxpayer subsidies for home electrification and for other purposes.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Florida seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I have a motion to recommit at the desk.
The clerk will report the motion.
Ms. Castor of Florida moves to recommit the bill H.R. 4758 to the Committee on Energy and Commerce.
Pursuant to Clause 2B of Rule 19, the previous question is ordered on the motion to recommit. The question is on the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. The noes have it. The motion is not to.
Mr. Speaker, I ask for the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. Sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. Pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, the chair will reduce to 5 minutes the minimum time for any electronic vote on the question as the bill is ordered. The question of passage of the bill, if ordered.
All right, and while they do that, we'll show you these live pictures again from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where we are expecting NASA to begin the rollback of Artemis 2 back to the vehicle assembly building, and that's like essentially their garage for these rocket ships. Artemis 2, as we've been telling you this hour, has been experiencing some fuel leaks, and ahead of its mission to take 4 astronauts around the moon, they're going to roll it on back to the vehicle assembly building in order to do repairs. We're expecting this multi-hour trip to get underway shortly, and we'll be showing it to you throughout the day here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Time right now is 10:01. Welcome back to Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I'm Jane Monreal, where we're following right now the Colin Gray trial out of Barrow County, Georgia. This is the father of the accused shooter in that mass shooting that happened at his school in 2024. Colin is facing criminal charges because he gave the gun that was used to kill 4 people there. He gave it to his son. Let's listen in on Live Impact News.
Day. Okay. But he did not say that Colt told him anything about a school shooter.
Did he deny that Colt told him that that was a school shooter?
Yes.
Okay. At this point, had you talked to Kelsey Ward about her interview with the defendant the previous day?
Yes, sir, I have.
Okay, and is what he telling you different from what he told her?
Yes, sir.
About that? What specifically was different?
Specifically on where Colin initially said that the firearm was located. Colin, according to my conversation with Special Agent Ward, initially told her that it was allowed to be kept in his bedroom. Here, there was a very different kind of 3 separate places that it was kept. That was different, as well as him having knowledge about who was in the kind of pictures that were up on Colt's wall. Special Agent Ward told me that Colin told her that 3 days before the shooting that he was told who that was.
And he denied that to you?
He did.
Okay. Did he admit that him and Colt, or that Colt talked about school shooters to him?
Yes.
Okay. And what did he say about that?
He said that Colt had a very analytical mind, that he noticed very small details. He talked about him looking into researching school shooters or different trials that were going on.
Okay. At this point in your investigation, have you seen anything on Colt's phone?
No, sir.
Okay. What happened at the end of the interview?
At the end of the interview, I did confront Colin about the inconsistencies in his statement, and ultimately I placed Colin under arrest.
Okay. Have you had a chance to watch the video of your interview with Colin Gray?
Yes, sir, I have.
And does it accurately reflect the interview and the totality that you had with him?
Yes, sir, it does.
Your Honor, this time I tender State Exhibit number 185. It actually, I think because of email purposes, it came to us in 3 separate parts. So it's going to be 185.1, 185.2, and 185.3. But it is one video.
No objection. All right, 185.
And Your Honor, just for the court and the records, it starts with them going in the room, a quick introduction, and then Mr. Smith, Investigator Smith, leaves the room. So we're going to cut through that. That is going to be, he leaves the room at 0040, comes back 10 minutes later at 11:00. So we'll cut through when he's not in the room because nothing's happening.
I assume no objection. No objection. No, sir.
And that's in State Exhibit 185.1. And then, Your Honor, in 185.3, towards the end of the interview, Investigator Smith steps out again at 39:30 and is gone for about 5 minutes to 45:30, so 6 minutes. So we'll cut that part out because it's just Mr. Gray sitting in the room by himself. And then it ends at 53:35 when they walk out. So that's just for the record.
And in total, you said you have to wait 2.5 hours?
Yes, Your Honor. The first one's going to be, when you take the stuff out, is 41 minutes. Part 2 is 67 minutes. And Part 3 is 47 minutes.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to let you sit next door for a second. I'm gonna go grab my notes and I'll be right back with you, okay? You need anything? No, sir, I'm good to go. Okay. I will be right back. I'm not gonna lock the door until it's shut, so it's all one time staring at you. Yeah, it's all good. Okay. I apologize for that. I have not gone to the bathroom all day. Yeah. It's all good. So I promise I'll wash my hands. It's all good. I'll introduce myself again. Yeah. My name is Investigator Jason Smith. I'm with the Barrow County Sheriff's Office. Yeah. And you were Mr. Colin Gray, correct? Okay. Sorry, we're meeting like this. Yeah. Unfortunately, that happens. And I'm going to apologize beforehand because I'm going to get 1,000 text messages and emails, and I'm trying to keep them, turn all them off right now. Yep. So I've heard a little bit. I understand that you talked with law enforcement. I've heard a little bit about kind of your statements to them. I'm just going to go ahead and explain my involvement. Yesterday, we were here at the office, we got a call. Sure. Go out to the high school, and while at the high school, after everything was secured, and you know, the medics had assisted with life-saving measures and everything like that, I conducted an interview with your son. Okay, he did, you know, we respected his rights. He was read Miranda, you know, he was very respectful, yes sir, no sir, and he basically explained to us what he did. I mean, he explained to us exactly what we observed on the cameras. Okay, well, let me have it. What the hell did you say? What happened? Okay, so, and I'll get into that and answer as many of your questions as possible. But in order for me to kind of help better articulate that to you, it's kind of like when you work a case like this, it's kind of like putting together a puzzle. Yeah. And right now, I don't have a very good view of what's going on. Yes, sir. So I understand he's been solely living with you for the past couple of years, give or take. And while we're talking, is it okay if I take some notes? Yeah, I'm doing that. Okay, good. Yeah. Because my memory, while it's okay some days. And Colin, you spell your name C-O-L-I-N? Yes. Okay. You have a middle name? No middle name. No middle name. Yeah. Colin doesn't have a middle name either? Yeah. Colin Jr., my little one, that's 8. He don't have a middle name either? Okay. This goes back to my dad's side of the family. Just no middle name? All the boys, all the way back to the Mayflower. Oh, C-G. Wow. I was married when I was young, like... I was wondering why everybody had that CG, like... Yeah, so I was married when you're about to be 20 or whatever, you know everything, and moved out, got married, had 2 older daughters, Brittany and Brooke.
All right, we will leave that trial for a moment. We'll get a check of weather. Meteorologist Chris Mulcahy is in studio getting ready, and we'll check in with him in just a couple of minutes here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Back here now at 10:12 on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. As promised, the man of the hour is here.
Hello.
He's happening. He's Chris Mulcahy talking to us about the weather. Feeling a little bit better as far as temperature goes. Chris?
Yeah, much better.
Looking for more warmth.
Yeah. What was great is yesterday we only hit the mid-40s. Well, we already are surpassing that, so that's good news. And by the way, my sleeves are rolled up, but there's no tornadoes, so that's usually a stipulation. They're like, uh-oh.
Something's going on.
Weatherman's got his sleeves rolled up, tied loose. And I was like, no, I just kind of lazily came in here. But anyways, 47 degrees is what we have right now. 14-mile-per-hour breeze. So when I left for work this morning around 2:15, the wind chimes were really active. And the bottom line today is going to be a very windy day. Temperatures outside of the Charlotte area, anywhere from 50 degrees from Albemarle down through Sherrod and Lancaster, and then not a big difference really from northwest to southeast. We have 46 degrees in the mountains, same temperature for you in Hickory, Morganton through the foothills, and then 47 degrees around Statesville. And we're starting to see a slightly brighter sky, but here's the difference. 44 yesterday, clouds didn't really help us out. And then today you will see some periods of sunshine, but it's that strong wind out of the southwest that's going to be cranking up a Mother Nature's thermostat. Here's a look at what you can expect throughout the rest of the day. Excuse that 9 a.m. I know that already happened, but you're going to expect those temperatures to be mainly in the mid to the upper 50s to around 60 degrees, just waiting on that sunshine. But how strong the wind's going to be, I think they're going to be anywhere from about 25 to 35 miles per hour. So that would be categorized as a strong breeze, and it really is, I think, the middle of the afternoon that things are the strongest. I have been warning people because last time that we had a windy Wednesday, and that was just recently, I think it was last week. What happened here was the winds were strong enough that actually we had a lot of large branches come down that it's this time of year you don't realize that, hey, some trees aren't coming back this year. They're dead. Where we literally had the top of our tree that I had to go in my neighbor's yard and clean it up because it was such a substantial wind gust that took it down. And that wind gust is only about 35 miles per hour. So it's still going to be a risk for some of those to fall. There's some brittle branches out there. Some of them were cracked and kind of took a hit from the back-to-back or the couple of winter storms that we had. The ice also weighed down on it because we did have up to a quarter inch, especially the higher you go up. So kind of keep that in mind. On and off strong wind gusts. And of course, as the winds pick up, it's starting to blow that tree pollen around. And we actually got 5 guys on here. We got cedar, elm, hickory, juniper, and alder. The lowest value that I didn't put on here is a hint of maple that's starting to come out. Allergy season's here, y'all. It usually pops in March, but it's really starting to flourish. Jane, you have allergies, right?
I do.
How you doing?
It's tumbleweed and some pollen. I do my neti pot every morning, though.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah. You seem like you're more proactive than most people, and
Yes.
So I honestly am lucky enough, and I think that it might hit me eventually, that there's no matter who you are, once everything's yellow, you're starting to suffer a little bit. But at least for right now, it's only at a medium high and not extreme levels. But just like last year, we started around the similar time. By the time you get to the middle of March, that's where things are really going to be shining as far as that yellow glaze, especially heading into April. So the best chance for rain, which is the best friend for some of these pollen spores because it washes them away, is Thursday morning primarily. So if you are driving on the roads anywhere between about 5 and 9, I think you're going to see widespread rain. And then there's a chance for scattered rain for the afternoon and evening. Isolated showers heading into your Friday. But again, I think most of that rain that we're going to see here along the I-85 corridor is going to be during the morning time. So here's a look at our futurecast. So I isolated just our 22 counties that we cover in North Carolina and South Carolina. We see a little bit of a break either side of noon as far as sunshine goes, and then we'll eventually see those clouds roll back in a little bit later on. It will be an overcast overnight, so that's going to keep things on the milder end. But our first signs of rain arrive to the northwest, as they typically do, to close out the evening and begin the overnight hours after midnight. Look at this rain. You're seeing rain rates up to a quarter to a half inch per hour. So I think there could be an hour up here that you have some very heavy rain. I'm concerned about that for the morning commute, and it's no offense to everyone. It's just kind of common knowledge. When it rains here, it turns into pandemonium on the roads. You have a variety of different speeds that people drive at. So if you have a rain like this during the peak of the commute, it is going to be a slower one. Not because some people are just slowing down because of the rain. There will be accidents. There's no way to avoid it. I've never seen a more morning like this not be problematic on the roads. So I think it's, again, primarily during that 5 to 9 range, so we're going to see some of the heavier rain. But this model is showing a higher intensity of the rain than what I was seeing, say, like 4 hours ago. I start looking at this stuff around 2:30, and it has been getting higher and higher, so that's going to affect our totals. But then once you get to about noon, I still think we have some active rain, but it's starting to slip its way to the south at that point, and then this system slows down. It's a stationary front that turns into the quasi-stationary front that kind of just wiggles all over the place, and that's going to lock that rain mainly in South Carolina. However, here's the problem. If this decides to start stalling out over Charlotte and I-85, we are looking at a lot more rain compared to what things are showing. But again, things are mainly trending that it slowly moves through, it moves out, and then you might have a lingering shower heading into your Friday. So your Charlotte rain totals, this is 4 different models that we rely on. You don't really need to know the specifics, but I will say the graph that we're seeing here is the most usually reliable because it takes the now data and then puts it to whatever is happening in the atmosphere. And they are showing up to about an inch. That total has come up substantially. And then the GFS and the Euro are longer range ones. Those ones are a little bit less. So I've been really just saying up to an inch is going to be a possibility, but we are going to have some heavier bands in here. So those pockets will have the potential of over an inch. We desperately need this, and it's mainly going to fall over about a 5-hour period. Then, once we clear things out, we're still going to have some lingering clouds. Boy, is this a perfect weekend. For one, we're starting off March on Sunday, and it's certainly March-like, 76 degrees, nice mixed cloud and sunshine, all right. But you are going to see a significant change heading into next week. It's all about the drops this time of year. We can't have anything nice. Or if we do,
not for too long.
It comes with a price. 76, the upper 40s. I think what we have here is a classic CAD, cold air damming. So that means clouds, a little rain, or at least just sprinkles and that damp feel that locks our temperatures down. It blocks the sun, and that's usually why you have a forecast like this. But let's flip the page. If you look at the 10-day forecast, you notice once that cold air damming pours out, the dam is broken, well, the temperatures are going to soar once again, lower 60s, transition back to 70 degrees. It's this time of year that our normals are changing. And officially this coming Friday, we're going to have a new normal high of 60 degrees. Now, that's not, hey, we should be 60 degrees. It's an average, of course. But that's one thing to say, because a lot of people say, well, when are we more consistently in the 70s and the 80s? Well, once you get to April 3rd, we start averaging 70 degrees per day. Once you get to May 14th, mid-May, we're averaging 80 degrees today. It's this time of year that our normal highs increase the fastest. So we're starting to really start to see that nice little upswing that every day now, our average is going to change every like 3 to 5 days. And then it turns over to 2 to 4 in that general range. So we are heading in the right direction, up. We're going to be golden. And again, we will see some dips here and there, but the good news is those dips will be shorter lived than what we had during the middle of winter, and they're going to be less harsh, as my native tongue would say up in New England.
Oh, nothing like New England.
Yeah, actually,
At least.
My mom just got JT a new book, and it is in the Boston tongue, and it's called The Lobster Garden.
Oh, love it.
So
That's cute.
Do you have to read it while drinking Dunkin'?
yeah. Well, yeah, of course I have my Dunkin', you know?
Yeah, of course. So allergy season, just to make sure for my own, like worse, March?
Yes.
We're just ramping up, just like the temps.
Yeah,
we're
let's
ramping up.
I think
to
I might
allergy
have
season.
this ready to go. Let's see. So
Bring
by
it.
a climatology, where we
Okay.
should be, March is usually where we're at a medium level, March 1st. But we're already at a medium high level. So if you kind of put that in, we're already climatologically where we usually are for after the first week of March. So as we're transitioning there, that means we're at least 10 days ahead of schedule. So you can take this data here, then once we get to the extreme level, which is typically early April, I think it's really by mid-March that we're starting to see those higher and the more extreme levels. As far as last year, here's what we had for the peak. The peak, because we started around a very similar time. It was about mid-February that we started seeing these levels. The peak was at April 7th, so that's where we had the absolute highest. So I think that what's going to happen this year, because history tends to repeat itself or rhyme, that will hit the higher and extreme levels by mid-March. We hit the absolute peak by early April, and then about 1 to 2 weeks after that, we start to come down, and it's really the back end of April that you have the permission to wash off your porch without being super frustrated that the yellow came back just a day later.
No kidding. I mean, and just like doubling, for my husband, like to double up on the allergy meds around this time, start getting prepped as well for when that peak comes.
No, that's a great question. Yeah, because it's already begun. People are making their preparations, and it's also the time of year because I'm sorry, this is kind of like a new change to the climate. Before it was mainly a March type of thing. Now we're seeing more and more February starts. So a lot of people are still thinking, hey, it's winter, I think I'm getting sick. Double check. It might be allergies. And for some of you, if you just moved here, you might have an allergy and you don't even realize it. Because there are a bunch, say if you came from New York, there's a bunch of trees that we have here that aren't up there.
Yeah.
That's me.
Hey, there it is. See?
That was me 10 years ago. I was like, what is this?
Right. No, my husband the same. And he's like, I've had allergies, but they've never been worse than they have been since we moved here.
And it's a special breed because before I even moved here, I've always loved the Carolinas, but those videos that you see like the backhoes hitting a tree and then all of a sudden the big burst of yellow comes off. Yeah. I was like, why? I was like, I truly, being honest with you, I don't know the true science here, but I think just because we have the right climate that it starts a little bit earlier as far as our warm-ups go, we have the right type of trees that have a little bit more pollen because this is a prime time that we have, I think, some of the worst as far as visibly seeing it that we have in the country. And let's see if I actually have this one because I want to. Here we go. Let's go fully in depth. Okay. So this is the most comprehensive but complicated pollen graphic I've had because it literally lists everything. So sometimes it can start in February. Check. Typically lasts from March to June. Peak intensity April. We just proved that even if it starts in February, that's the same thing that happens. Now this is where it's too much information for the everyday. But trees that produce the most pollen are river birch, American beech, hickory, oak, and yellow poplar.
And we're surrounded.
Yeah. Those technically haven't gotten going yet.
Okay.
So we haven't, that's why you don't see them right away. There's always the ones that come a little bit. We're already seeing the forsythias, those little pink flowers that you see. Those are the first flowers that say, hey, spring is in the air. But here's the master list. Ooh. Now, as you see, it's like, it's too small for me to read. There's like the crepe myrtles that are on here, sweet gums, red maple, pretty much every tree you can imagine. And anything that you see that's yellow, that's not making you sneeze. It's microscopic things. So that's why you're already starting to be affected by this as of right now. And I'm seeing values come up, but it's just like the stock market. Whenever you see a stock that goes straight up, it usually starts to come down before it comes back up. So that's going to be the thing. Rainy days will wash it away. Even if it doesn't have rain to wash it away, it's constantly just these spikes until you get to late March and early April, and then eventually does the same thing, head in the opposite direction.
Do your allergies feel better, James? Are you acclimated?
No, my head just hurt looking at that chart. This big chart that Chris has, that big red in April, like my head's just hurting thinking about it.
See, it's appropriate though, right?
It is. I told my husband last week, we got to get those purifiers out because, it doesn't, just because you keep your doors and windows closed, it just sneaks in through the system and into your house, and it's all kinds of crazy. You can't even see it.
And one more thing, because I do have this one as well. So quoting Coldplay, why is it all yellow? Well, it's pine pollen that's the most visible. So you're really waiting on the pines, like even though some of the other visible ones are like the birch trees and such, but that's the ones that really radiate all of that yellow. So pine grains are often 2 to 3 times larger than some of the hardwood trees. So that's why this is usually the ones that you see visible plumes. And if you live near a lot of pines, that's why you might have everything all yellow. I have a yellow house, so that definitely helps. And then pine pollen, look at the difference. Oak pollen is 0.03 millimeters. It's almost 0.1 millimeters. So you're literally, you can visibly see it. And again, it's the ones that are less than these, usually close to about 0.01 millimeters. Those are the ones that are affecting the nasal patches. Actually, usually goes to nanometers, the ones that really affect us.
Nanometers. Okay. Well, I know we're going to be talking about this as we get closer to mid-March, April.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Just a little taste.
Best wishes.
Of the allergies. Nice. Thank you. Yeah. Get used to that neti pot. I keep on recommending. I think
I've
it
never
helps.
used it.
I think it's great. I mean, yeah, it's kind of waterboarding, but you're doing it on yourself.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it. Like, I kind of freak out if I'm drinking
Yeah,
too much.
I
Like, if
know.
I was like, oh my God, I'm drowning myself.
Just go all the way through. All right. Too much information, I'm sure. Thanks for the visual,
Of course.
Chris.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. We'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. It's 10:30 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Sad news out of Hollywood. The daughter of Martin Short, Catherine Short, has passed away at the age of 42. Joe Fryer from NBC's Today Show has the latest and a little bit about Catherine Short.
Hey there, good morning. Catherine Hartley Short, the eldest of 3 children, Martin Short, adopted with his late wife, Nancy. Her death, the latest hardship for the comedy legend who over the years has become all too familiar with loss and grief.
Actor Martin Short and his family are dealing with a devastating loss this morning. They announced the passing of Catherine Hartley Short, the comedian's only daughter, writing, "Catherine was beloved by all and will be remembered for the light and joy she brought into the world."
Hi, Catherine. Happy birthday.
Well, Catherine Short did occasionally join her famous father on the red carpet, like attending a Vanity Fair Oscar party with him in 2011. She lived a relatively private life. Short praised her accomplishments during an appearance on Today.
Catherine is graduated at NYU. She's going to do her master's at USC in social work.
The 42-year-old was found dead from a suspected suicide at her home in the Hollywood Hills after a welfare check, police sources tell our NBC Los Angeles station.
Self-inflicted, RP is there with the patient.
It's the latest tragedy for Martin Short, whose wife of 30 years passed away in 2010 following a battle with ovarian cancer. Short also lost his parents at a young age, speaking about that with us in 2014.
At 20, I had lost 3 members of my family, and yet I had to figure it out how to be happy because my natural orientation was to be happy. And then at 60, the same thing.
Back here in the Live Impact studio on WCNC Plus, want to update you right now out of Florida. Live picture of the the rolling of the space launch system there
It's
at
gone.
NASA.
It moved from the picture.
Well, I mean, it was going to take 12 hours.
Yeah, if we change angles, Jane, you can still
Oh,
see that
okay.
the rocket is very near the launch pad. But I thought that first stationary shot was a good contrast
Yeah,
because
that's
from this
good.
angle, which I think is a little bit more to the left, the rocket was center up about an hour ago. And if we just change angles, we can still see it's kind of
Okay.
like progressing down the I'm gonna drop the ticker for a moment. There you go. You can see it's rolling
Mm-hmm. little
down the
bit.
hill on the launch pad. But yeah, as
Isn't
Candace
that
was telling us, it takes hours
fascinating?
because it goes like 4 miles an hour.
And they're going to move it back to the assembly building.
That's right. The vehicle assembly building, it's like their big garage.
Okay.
It's the largest single-story building by volume because when you stand next to it, it's multiple stories tall or the equivalent of. But if you go inside, it's just one big open air space vertically.
And James, they're rolling this back because they are postponing this mission,
Yeah,
Artemis
so
2.
the launch has been delayed until at least April because they are experiencing fuel leaks, specifically hydrogen, and they found these during some dress rehearsals where they essentially do everything but launch the rocket to test its integrity. Those integrity tests proved what they were intended for, that there was an integrity problem, but there is, I think, some frustration because these are very similar issues to what we saw with Artemis 1 going back to about 2022. So it's a little deja vu all over again, Jane.
Right, and they were going to fly, or they are planning to fly astronauts around the moon. So very important because we have humans involved.
That's right.
First time in 50 years.
Yes. So anytime you have a crewed mission where you're flying humans, there is extra scrutiny of all of the safety systems. And that's what NASA keeps saying, that they are going to take their time and they will launch when they're ready.
All right, so just an update there out of Cape Canaveral, Kennedy Space Center in Florida. We're going to look again towards April to see if Artemis 2 can make its mission out to the moon. And here at 10:34 now, we are going to get closer to home to Washington, D.C., the nation's capital. Happening right now is the General Committee hearing for Casey Means to nominate her as the Surgeon General. Let's listen in on Live Impact News.
I've decided not to run for Surgeon General. You're the nominee. I've decided
That
not
is
to accept
definitely-
that nominee.
That is definitely something we would never accept. Ma'am, what's your passion about health care? What brought you into this?
Thank you, Senator Mullen. For all of us, I'm just going to take a deep breath. My vision for Surgeon General and for the future of America is to get more healthy, whole food on Americans' plates and to work to systematically encourage our healthcare system to focus on the root causes of why we are sick and not just reactive sick care. This is my passion. This is why I was put on this earth. We have an incredible healthcare system. It's amazing. It's produced miracles. If we have an acute issue, absolutely you want to be in America to get that fixed. But 90% of healthcare costs are now going to chronic diseases. And frankly, having practiced, I've seen thousands of patients, worked in this system for almost a decade in clinical medicine, it's not the focus of what we as doctors are incentivized to spend our time on. It's not what's reimbursed, and this is a problem. Medical education doesn't focus on these modifiable root causes of diseases. The science is showing us through amazing emerging work in systems biology and network biology that the physiologic causes of the vast majority of diseases that are taking American lives and torturing and shortening our lives, even in our children, are connected by shared physiology and shared root causes. We need to upgrade the paradigm of the American healthcare system to educate and treat in that way. It is by far the most efficient way to treat, of course, because if we're addressing shared root causes, we're going to be able to stop the whack-a-mole medicine that's not working for us and that is so costly. And so my passion is to help work with the AMA, work with medical schools, work with Democrats, Republicans, all sorts of agencies across the government to ensure that we really move the needle on shifting the American healthcare system towards root causes. I know we can do it. There's political will. It's what Americans want. Even the medical schools are on board, but we need a vision to get there.
Thank you.
Senator Murray.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Dr. Means, for being here. Let me start with this. You called birth control pills, and I'm going to quote, a disrespect of life, and you said Americans, quote, use birth control pills like candy. You also claimed, contrary to established science, that hormonal birth control has, quote, horrifying health risks for women. Now, here are the facts. There are 18 FDA-approved contraceptive methods, both hormonal and non-hormonal, and there are decades of evidence showing that every one of these birth control methods is safe and effective. So I wanted to ask you, help me understand, should women trust the FDA, which approved all 18 methods of birth control after a very rigorous look at the evidence, or should they trust your statement that there are horrifying health risks to birth control, which contradicts that evidence?
Thank you, Senator Murray, for your question. I'm curious if you're aware of what the side effects of hormonal contraception are.
I'm curious if you are with the FDA that went through all of these and rigorously looked at them, or as Surgeon General, if you're going to tell the truth to the American people.
I absolutely believe these medications should be accessible to all women. And also, all medications have risks and benefits, and in our current medical climate, with the burden on doctors, doctors do not have enough time for thorough informed consent conversations. Some of the horrifying side effects of birth control that I have mentioned include blood clots and stroke risk in women who have clotting disorders, who are smokers, who have obesity. No, it's not general. I'm very careful with my words, and when I say those comments, which are taken out of context, I'm speaking about particular women that can be hurt if there is not informed consent about their medical history, their lifestyle exposures, and their family history. I want those women, and I know you do too, to be able to have a thorough conversation with their doctor and know whether they are at higher risk for side effects when prescribed the medication.
Saying that is one thing, but saying on, different shows that birth control pills are a disrespect of life is very different.
I am passionate about women's health, and I think it is disrespectful
people use
to women.
Birth controls like candy is very different than what you just said.
We prescribe a huge amount of hormonal contraceptive, and I do not believe most of those conversations have informed consent because of the pressures that doctors are under because of our broken healthcare system. I want what's best for women, as do you, and I want every woman who could be at risk for a side
have 2 minutes
effect
left, and I have other
to
questions.
know.
Let me move on. Thank you.
If a woman died from a
Dr.
stroke or a
Means,
blood clot because they did not have a thorough
Thank
conversation.
you for your answer. You made that clear. Let me go to another question. Tracy Beth Hogue, she's an anti-vaccine skeptic. She was elevated by the Trump administration to serve as the top drug regulator at FDA. She made comments last week casting doubt on the safety of RSV vaccines for baby. As you sure know, RSV can be deadly even for healthy full-term infants. Do you believe that Dr. Hogue is wrong to question the safety of RSV vaccines?
I have not read that article or seen that quote. I would need to know what she said before I commented on that.
Well, you do know that RSV is the leading cause of hospitalization for infants.
I have a 17-week-old, and I'm very aware of that.
You hear her statement. As Surgeon General, would you contradict it?
I certainly have absolutely no issue having very frank conversations with anyone in the administration if I believe that their statements are misguided in some way, are not fully informed. That's not a conversation I would have publicly first. I would have a private and direct conversation with anyone in the administration if I felt that patients were at risk because of.
All right, and I also want to ask you about maternal health. Mental health conditions are the leading cause of maternal death in the U.S., including suicide and overdose deaths. In her comments last week, Dr. Hogue, same woman, also expressed concern about the safety of the antidepressants during pregnancy. Specifically, she called out SSRIs, the most commonly prescribed type. Do you believe that SSRIs are dangerous for pregnant women?
I don't want to be a broken record here, but I do believe that every medication has risks and benefits, and you need to have a nuanced conversation with your doctor before starting a medication. that is, I think, the most responsible position for any doctor to share.
Well, strong evidence has shown that SSRIs are safe in pregnancy. Most do not increase the risk of birth defects.
Certainly.
But untreated
Certainly.
depression in pregnancy puts women at risk.
And I agree with you, but I still think a patient, I don't think it's responsible to make a blatant statement for all Americans.
Okay, well, if confirmed as Surgeon General, it will be your job to give accurate and up-to-date health information to the American people. I assume you will take that responsibility seriously.
I absolutely do, and I also believe that the American people are looking for a more nuanced conversation about health, and I believe that that will help restore trust in public health.
Thank you.
Coach Tuberville.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Means, thanks for being here. Congratulations on expanding your family, and I know it's an exciting time for you. I also want to thank Assistant Secretary of Health, Dr. Christine, for being here. Thank you for your service. Dr. Means,
You're watching live right now the testimony, the hearing to nominate Dr. Casey Means for the Surgeon General. We'll get back to that here shortly after this break on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Time right now is 10:45 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. I want to get you back out to Washington, D.C., where President Trump's nominated Dr. Casey Means is in front of a Senate committee for her hearing to be nominated as Surgeon General. We continue to listen in on Live Impact News.
Education affect culture, affect what companies are putting in the food. The zeitgeist is going to shift about a lot of this because we're going to start to have transparency about what is even in our food system. Additional things are happening that are just incredible around food. There was just $700 million put forward towards regenerative agriculture. So we're going to have more investment in research and studying of soil health, water quality, nutrient density of food, and how that's affecting our health. That's going to trickle into medical education. There's a whole person health initiative at the NIH that's being put forward by Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, who's doing an incredible job. That's going to study this systems biology perspective of the body, not isolated silos, but the whole body health. And when we look at the body as a system like that, nutrition has to play into it. So this is just, 4 or 5 of some of the stones that are being moved right now that all will lead to nutrition being a bigger part of our healthcare system. I think where I can help on that is elevating the work that's being done, having conversations, again, across the whole medical community to help us in a really positive and unifying way move towards a more root cause approach to health.
you think that will be a hard item to push in our medical schools about nutrition.
I've had conversations with a number of deans of medical schools who are very, very passionate about this issue. They want to change. It feels hard because we have this behemoth healthcare system that operates a certain way. But right now, there's cultural momentum, there's political will, and I think the time is now to make generational changes that are going to have a huge impact on all Americans. And I also think it's an issue that all of us can work on together. It's non-controversial, it's positive, it's unifying, and I think that's what we need right now for Americans.
It's all about educating people, and sometimes people don't want to be educated, but I think the Surgeon General and our whole Department of Health and Human Services, I think everybody's on board with that. And if we do that, what Senator Sanders was talking about the $5 trillion a year we spend, we can't afford to do that anymore. I mean, we have to start, and the root cause is education. We have to educate people. Thank you very much.
Senator Baldwin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Dr. Means, for being here today. You spoke in your opening statement about building trust in public health. And you also made, I think, a passing reference to conflicts of interest within agencies in HHS. So I want to ask you a few questions on that point. Dr. Means, you've promoted a lab testing company, Genova Diagnostics, which is backed by private equity and may charge customers several $100s for its services. Before you began promoting their tests on social media, the company agreed to pay $43 million to resolve allegations that it had billed for medically unnecessary lab tests and violated the False Claims Act. You personally accepted $10,000 from this company, and I want to ask you whether you were aware of Genova Diagnostics' prior violations and the settlement when you started promoting their services.
Thank you, Senator Baldwin, and also thank you so much for meeting with me beforehand. I really enjoyed our conversation. Frankly, I was not familiar with that settlement.
So that's
there's a particular test that they make about nutrient quality that I find very compelling, because I do think we need to understand a little bit more transparently about how the nutrients from our food are affecting our health. And I would just highlight that I have worked extremely closely with the Office of Government Ethics over the last several months and taken this process very seriously. I've signed a letter that outlines how to rectify any potential conflicts. And I
know you're going to divest your stocks in all sorts of health-related and non-health-related entities, but it's troubling because the Surgeon General must be someone that the public can trust, and someone who does their homework before accepting money or lending credibility to a company. And for me, this raises questions about your judgment. It does not inspire confidence that you're here to make Americans healthy when you accept money to promote a company who's had to pay a settlement because of violating the False Claims Act. Dr. Means, you have also promoted a range of supplements, including those that claim to promote longevity and detoxification. You made at least $325,000 from promoting supplements since the beginning of 2024, according to information provided to this committee. This includes nearly $135,000 for a so-called longevity supplement and $46,000 for wellness teas and elixirs, both of which can cost upwards of $100 a month for somebody consuming them. Your company, Levels Health, offers continuous glucose monitoring and AI-driven health insights. And a full membership, and I'm not sure what all a full membership involves, but costs $1,500 a year. And that's about a whole month's average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So do you really believe that most Americans can afford to spend upwards of $1,500 a year on your supplements and programs? And is that one of your solutions to our nation's health problems?
Thank you for the question. I certainly don't think every American needs to be wearing a glucose monitor. I think that we have a monumental blood sugar problem in this country that underlies most of the leading causes of death in this country: dementia, cancer, diabetes, heart disease, stroke are all connected by metabolic dysfunction and elevated blood sugar. And my work on using entrepreneurship as a tool to bring and study new tools that can help us understand our blood sugar better, I believe I'm very proud of. And as I mentioned in my opening statement,
Thank you for that statement and those observations. Dr. Means,
and that
you say
research
you
that we've
want
done
to
with the
address-
company is meant to benefit all Americans. It does not necessarily mean
to
that
tie up in my remaining 12 seconds. Dr. Means, you say you want to address chronic disease, but 1/3 of low-income adults have 2 or more chronic conditions. They need an affordable solution. Groceries are too expensive. Health care is too expensive. Health insurance premiums have skyrocketed because of Republicans' refusal to extend the tax credit and cuts to Medicaid. And 15 million Americans are losing their health insurance. People cannot afford their prescription drugs. So you've said that our healthcare system is broken, but it seems to me that you've spent your career sort of making money off the flaws in the system, and I'm left wondering how the American people are supposed to trust you to put their health and safety first, not profits.
Those are incorrect characterizations. I appreciate your comments, and I do look forward to working with you and on your priorities. And I absolutely am committed to giving Americans the best public health information possible. And like the comments I made prior, I think some of the movement in our administration towards making healthy food more accessible are going to impact all Americans in a very positive way. And I look forward to helping on that and many other issues that make healthcare accessibility much easier for all Americans.
Senator Husted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Means, thanks for being here today. I'm going to try to get through pesticides and mental health for our children, if I could. I want to thank you for what you're trying to do to raise awareness about healthy eating, healthy foods. And since your nomination, and though I've had a lot of questions from farmers in the agriculture community in Ohio about your comments on pesticides. And you will not regulate pesticides in your role, but your views will impact American consumers and what they believe about what's healthy and good for them. What is a pesticide? Now, I would just put a little poster up here, and why do we use them? Because this is the kind of thing we try to prevent. This is an earworm. This is the kind of thing that destroys our crops in all across the country. Corn, wheat, soybeans, fruit, and vegetables. If we fail to use proper pesticides, it will drive down yields of 20 to 50%, even more for fruits and vegetables, the very things we want people to eat more of, which will restrict the supply chain, make food less accessible and more expensive if we can't have proper crop yields and use more land, more resources, et cetera. And so given all those facts and given what the concerns are, please just share your views on pesticides for what they mean to the average consumer of food in our grocery stores.
Thank you, Senator Husted. And thank you so much for meeting with me prior to this hearing. This is a very complex issue. And what I would just want to start by saying is that I have the utmost respect for the American farmer. And I think just like doctors, farmers are in an impossible situation right now. Where we have developed an agriculture system that is dependent on chemicals that are toxic to have an affordable food supply. And that's not good for farmers, it's not good for consumers, it's a complex issue. And obviously changing anything overnight would be devastating to the American farmer and the American consumer. With that said, this administration is committed to understanding what's in our food and how it's affecting our bodies and how cumulative exposures to various chemicals in our environment is affecting us. And that is a core, profound, long-term, deep passion of mine as someone who thinks about how our environments and the system that we live in is affecting our health in the midst of this monumental chronic disease epidemic. And certainly pesticides, herbicides, insecticides is something we need to look into as part of that cumulative exposure. So it's a complex issue. It's very sensitive for farmers and for American consumers, especially mothers, because we want to have the safest water and the safest, food supply in terms of what's on it. But I understand the nuance of these issues and that changes need to be made thoughtfully with full respect for American farmers and the constraints that they're under. And also, eventually we are going to need to move towards a more sustainable way of growing our food that decreases our reliance on toxic chemicals that are hurting human health. I think there are incredible movements happening within the administration. Like I mentioned, the $700 million going towards regenerative agriculture transitions, precision agriculture, and the private sector collaboration that may be using technology to help be more precise with pesticide spraying, and I think those are all
right,
positive
more on
developments,
the
but at the end of the day,
confirmation
we do need to
hearing
understand
for
how
Dr.
these
Casey
chemicals are affecting our bodies
Means
and
as a
work
Surgeon
towards
General in
creating
the
safest.
upcoming hours and days.
I have one more.
But that'll do it for us right now
quick
here as
questions
we come
for
up
you.
on
It's
11
mental
o'clock in
health for our
Charlotte
children.
today. Have a great morning.